So what do you do after you build a really beautiful big composite camper box? You put a big hole in it. I know it seems absolutely ridiculous and silly, right? But that's what you have to do. So now that I've got the camper box built and the windows installed, which was really frightening to put all these big holes in the side of the camper and get those installed, those are installed. Now I've also cut the entry door, that big opening, big massive opening. Now I have to do something probably even a little more scary, and that's put a really big hole in the roof of my brand new camper, because obviously if it's not done right, it'll forever be a problem with water leaking in and snow melt and everything else going into it. So I've got to get this right. It has to be strong and structural because it's also going to be my access to the roof deck. And of course you have to have a roof deck, right? So, or to clean up your solar panels, get up there for that purpose, or I don't know, to throw a frisbee or see the stars, right? Whatever it may be, you're going to be up there to see the waves better off in the distance. So I need to cut this big hole in there, and it's also to bring light in, and it's got to be perfectly in the right place over the bed, because the idea is to be able to look up out of bed at the stars from bed and see that, and yet still bring light through when in bed reading, like when the bed is up in its prop position. More on that in the future video. And so I got to get this in the right place so it's stars are viewable from bedtime, and yet also lights coming in for daytime bed reading or hanging out or just bringing light into the camper. And yet of course it has to be in a good place where I can still access and get up onto the roof and back down through the hatch from the roof, and of course not leak. Last thing we want to do, right? So here we go. Am I experienced at installing roof hatches and skylights? No, not at all. But come along with the journey. We're going to learn together. So I am using these points right here to mark this, and then this dry erase marker to mark where I'm going to do the hole. And if you look at that right there, where that hole is, this is where I'm going to cut the line. This is going to give me a nice big rounded corner before the next one, preventing fracturing. I probably could also bring this in a little more like that to make the hole smaller, and that would probably be perfectly sufficient. And so I probably could cut right there, drill my hole right there instead, and that would be perfectly fine, I think, too, because if we look at where that is, it's still way overlapping. Matter of fact, I'm going to do that. Then we'll lose a little less material at the top here. And I'm getting each one centered off these holes in the saw, so they should be exactly in the same place relative to each other from each corner that's taped out. And the great thing about the dry erase marker is I can just wipe it with my hand to clean it off. So if I don't, like I drew these marks, I didn't really like them, or I decided to make a little change on how I'm doing this and where I'm putting them. So you can see here, great benefit of the dry erase marker on this. Clean it off, and now I can redraw my measurement, so I'm not being confused by different measurements, and I'm using these holes off the tape to mark those corners. So now the saw is going to come up here. The hole is going to create a little bit of a nice radius around that, but still allow enough extra little corner for the corner of the skylight frame to fit through there, and have a corner to keep any fracturing. And so that's going to create our holes we're going to drill through. The plan here is, while we're up here 12 feet off the ground, is I am going to drill holes straight through. This ceiling is 3 1/4 inches thick. So I have to basically drill down about 3 1/2 inches, get all the way through the ceiling. And what I found is you do need to have a pretty sharp drill bit, go pretty fast but slow. It'll go really a little bit tough resistance to, of course, the fiberglass sheet. Then it'll go really quick and easy right through the foam. And then, of course, it'll take a little time to get through the next fiberglass. Time meaning a few seconds, maybe 2, 3, 4 seconds. So not that long, but I want to go slowly through that, so I'm not pushing the fiberglass sheeting down and peeling it away from the foam. I don't want to delaminate it. I want to just let it really gently drill through. So I'm really just going to use the gravity or the pressure of the weight of the drill bit itself. What I found works well for this is to use one of these drill alignment tool, and this just allows me to get it perfectly vertically aligned over that hole. And the benefit of this, by having it perfectly lined over this hole, is I know that hole is going straight down. And the reason why that's important is because the saw that I have, which is a 7 1/4, was a 7 1/2 inch circular saw with a cement fiberboard cutting blade, which works really well on this, and I found it by far works the best. Well, still only with the 7 1/2 inch saw, and you still have a cutting depth about 2 5/8 of an inch. So call it 2 1/4 inch, and yet this is 3 1/4 inches thick. So I cannot go through the full thickness as well in one saw cut. And you may ask, well, why don't you just use a reciprocating saw or a jigsaw? And so a jigsaw, yes, I can get a 4-inch long blade made for plastic cutting, or fiber cement board or fiberglass for a jigsaw. I can't get a 5-inch blade made for these materials in a jigsaw, but I can get that 4-inch saw. But even at 4 inches, I'm going to have to move incredibly slowly to not have it pound the sheet below, to not catch on that without cutting through it. And the fiberglass cutting blades always are a downward stroke blade, so they push down to cut, which means it's also going to push that lower sheet down on the inside down to cut, and that could delaminate it. And so I don't like that at all. Plus a jigsaw is really wavy cut. It's really hard to get that straight. Yes, I could put a straight edge here, and I can't really clamp it because I'm on a 7-foot tall camper. Not easy to clamp down, but I could of course put some sort of straight edge down and use that as a guide and get a pretty straight cut with the jigsaw. It's still wavy. A reciprocating saw will have a plenty long blade, and it will cut through it okay, but generally those blades are very rough blades. I can get a pretty fine cut blade that's made again for something like cutting a tile or something. The problem with those is this, again, it's going to flap all around as it's cutting. It's not going to make a good clean cut. The circular saw makes a fantastically clean cut. The downside is I can't get all the way through this material in one shot from the top. So I'm going to drill the holes all the way through. That's going to set my corners from down below. And then I'm going to cut my hole saw from here on the top. And again, the hole saw is only about a 2-inch depth of cut. That's it. So I can only take it down in about 2 inches. That's okay. I'm going to go in about 2 inches deep. And then I'm going to go down in below and do the same thing. Use this exact same pilot hole, which with this attachment here, I know I have now a vertical hole the way through that. I wasn't holding this drill bit ever so off, and so my alignment down below is off, and then when I cut my lines with the circular saw from down below, they will be off, and then I'll have this wavy vertical cut. So this allows me everything right on. So this will create my center hole for my hole saw, and that'll create again also my lines from down below to make my circular saw cuts. So it's a bit tricky. It is a stepped process that is frustrating, no doubt about it, but I found that works best. And then I go down below with the circular saw after I've cut from up here, and I do the same thing as well in cutting those lines, and they should match up very closely. They should be within probably 1/8 of an inch of each other. They will be a little bit off because it's hard even with the circular saw to make a perfectly straight cut, especially when you're holding it over your head, right above your head, and with a bunch of fiberglass and foam shooting down on you and blocking your vision, and having to put a vacuum on that to keep that all clean. So I've worked out some tools and tricks for that, but this is how I found it works pretty well. So let's get to it. Let's start cutting out this big hole in the middle of the roof.
And every large cut starts with small holes in each corner. So I'm drilling out the pilot holes in each corner that I'll use to clock the exact reference corner points.
Okay, we're through.
And once I'm done drilling these corner reference holes, I'll come back with the hole saw.
Nope, not all the way through.
And I'm taking my time, making sure I'm not putting a lot of pressure into the drill bit, so I'm not pushing out the interior ceiling panel at all or delaminating it from the foam. So I'm just going very gently, letting the drill do its work, cleaning up the holes after each one to make sure I'm not putting debris around or tracking that, of course, across the ceiling or pushing it down into the interior of the camper as well. So just taking my time here to drill these 4 pilot hole corners, and then, of course, after that, cleaning them up, and then we'll get to actually the hole saw as well on those cuts. And while drilling holes in the ceiling or the roof of my new camper is definitely scary, the real scary part is yet to come. So I'm just making sure all my holes are exactly where I need them before we move on.
One thing you notice I do is I keep it on a low speed, so that way I'm not flicking the foam or the fiberglass shavings all around, just making a big mess. And you know, it's just kind of keep you all staying in a nice big pile right here within the vertical drill alignment tool. And so that way it makes the cleanup a lot easier. I'm not splattering this debris all over the place. And then essentially as soon as I get through the hole from below, I can hear it pop through. I pretty much just pull it back up, because that way I'm not splattering again this debris down below, just making the cleanup down there harder. So keeping it clean and easy. You also notice that I'm vacuuming up the drill and drill bit after each drill, and that reason why is just again to keep that debris from accumulating, right, and splattering more stuff around. So reducing that mess and not having that stuff splatter around on the next drill, so next hole. So that way everything just stays nice and clean and neat, and I can see exactly what I'm working with too. I don't have debris building up on the drill bit that prevents me seeing exactly where that hole should be centered. If you look at like this hole, it's pretty darn well placed in that corner of the tape. Yeah, it's maybe off by a millimeter or so in one direction, but it's pretty spot on. That's what I'm trying to do, is get them as spot on as I can, and use this tool here to get them as straight down as I can. So that way I have this as my alignment position from down below as well. And like right now, it just fell a little bit off there from where the center of the hole is. So before I punch through the fiberglass, I just readjust my position that little bit, get my stand pressed down like I'm doing with my left hand, and that way that hole now starts getting recentered back to where it needs to be. And you also notice how I'm going very slowly, right, with the drill, and so I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it at all. I'm just letting it just work its way in. And again, I don't want to push on that fiberglass from down below or delaminate it. So I wanted to have the drill going pretty slowly, just foam we're going through. Once I hit that next fiberglass sheet, which I'm about to hit, I'll speed it up so we can cut through that a little bit quicker and more easily. It's abrasive, so it's a little harder to drill through, but also, again, not putting pressure on it. I don't want to delaminate that part at all. I just want to drill through it. And you can see once I get through, I punch that hole through, I can hear it and see it, and all that foam is just built up right there in that one spot, instead of being debris all over the place. Okay. So here with the hole saw, I just want to go ahead and line it up right in there in that hole, get the drill bit down in there a good amount to make sure that it's lined up with that hole vertically with the pilot bit in the center here, and then the hole saw I'm just using one big enough to fit through this, which is a 2 3/8, but anywhere really between a 1 inch to 2 inch is probably more than sufficient. The bigger the hole, the more rounded the corner, and that's going to mean less chance of it tearing. But this is bigger than what Total Composites suggests, and certainly big enough or at least what they recommend as a minimum, and plenty big to keep that from ripping. So again, I'm going to really try to stabilize the base here now that the pilot's down in there. And I'm going to pull the hole saw probably just off slightly, just to make sure that I get it started. And also, I notice I have tape across the bottom here to not only give the platform a nice solid platform, a solid base to make sure that the drill is going straight down through, but also just minimize the amount of fiberglass shavings that come up. It does help, just a little bit.
And now that all the pilot holes and the rounded corners are cut, I got to pull out the big circular saw and start making these cuts through my brand new camper roof to make this big skylight cutout. And so just going from corner to corner. And you'll notice sometimes also going from corner to corner, I do actually have to back the saw into those corners in order to get a square cut in that corner. And once those are all cut through, that roughly halfway through this ceiling thickness, because that's about all the saw can do, is about between 1/2 and 3/4 thickness, I now got to go ahead and do the cuts from inside, which is dangerous working overhead right over your face and have to have a face mask on to really be able to protect the eyes and breathing while making these cuts. So my suggestion is if you're going to make these cuts, make sure to do it safely with breathing and eye protection, hearing protection, and as much dust collection as possible.
You know, I screwed up. I was supposed to cut along this line, and I cut along that line.
Uh-oh.
And the same thing here and there. If I only did one of them, it'd probably be okay, but I did 3 of them that way. Which means, unfortunately, I think we need to cut this one again.
Okay.
And this one again. And this one again.
Okay.
Or else I don't think it's going to fit quite right. And I think it's better to cut them now
Yeah.
than later.
So yep, no matter how much planning and preparation, I still made a cut that was slightly more inside of where I needed to make it. So unfortunately, I had to come back in, make these cuts, or at least 3 of them, a second time on a little bit outer side of the original cut to make sure that the skylight would fit. So it was a pretty minor thing, but a little inconvenience, but here we go. And then the corners needed just a little bit of re-drill to release the stuck pieces. And with that, there we go. It's a religious experience, opening this hole and getting some light inside the camper.
Right. So what happens when you got a brand new camper? You have to cut holes in it. Today was a really big one. Not only big in size, but in its location, right on the roof. I hope it's right. We're going to test it out here soon. But now it's cut in, and so there you go. So the windows are in, all 5 of the windows, and now big opening for the big skylight. Let's try this out and see how she works.
So I'm super excited to have both of these Motorcraft Adventure Development skylights in, and of course all 5 of the windows. They did arrive with some long bolts through the frame for the hinges, and I did not like the way that those were done, and they did say they were temporary and they should be replaced. I went ahead and replaced them with some different bolts that could actually bolt into my frame with the reinforcement of both the top and the bottom of it. And so that I can actually remove the hinges later on. I made a little bit of also adjustment to the hinges so it would actually lay down a little bit lower. And also, if you recognize it, you may notice it, the hinges are actually off to the side instead of the back. And this is so I can open it to the side and get up on the roof more easily. And yes, we'll talk more about how that's going to open up later on when I receive the lift attachments for Motorcraft Adventure Development to get that in there. But right now, it is about as close of a fit going in and out of the garage as I would like. But we get a little weight in this camper as we keep building out, and it'll lower it down, and we'll get a little more space for not only that gap there, but also for the solar panels and other things to come onto the roof. So thanks for watching so much. There's a lot more coming up. If you thought this was a really big hole to put in the ceiling of my camper, it is. But coming up, it's even going to be 2 bigger holes.